Make sure you get the good side. Make sure
No
you get
problem.
the good. Both sides are good sides, says you. Eh?
Yeah, well, I'll cut this out. Me playing posing in the camera, trying to make myself look good.
Easy work, Max. Easy work. Max Lally joins me today ahead of his Cage Legacy 21 co-main event, March 24th. New opponent, first of all, maybe we'll start off with that. New opponent, Abdellah Adjas, is in for David Khalsa. That's correct, isn't it? Yeah, new opponent. We will talk about that a little bit later on, Max, but thanks for joining me. Thanks for the time. It's good to see you. We're getting close now, only a couple of weeks away. How are you doing?
Great. Now, 2 weeks out from fight night tomorrow. Really excited to get back in and get this year rolling with a big win,
100%. Like I said, I wanted to go back. Last time we had a chat, it was ahead of your professional debut. Jonathan Fenard, Cage Legacy, I can't remember the number now, but back a couple of months back. I remember talking to you ahead of that. Lots of excitement, lots of anticipation, not only for the fight, but for the occasion. You were telling me, the fight is one thing, the build up, everyone going to see you, the fact that it was, you're headlining a show, it was your professional debut, all of those moving parts. How did it all play out in your eyes? Obviously, it went quite well, the fight itself, but everything, you would have been visualizing everything and picturing everything. How did it go? What was the experience like for you, Max?
Honestly, it was a great experience. I try to enjoy absolutely everything possible, from the build up, from the ticket selling, from the promotion, from the training, the fight camps, to the weight cut, to the actual fight. I try to enjoy everything and be grateful for the position that I'm in, that I'm able to get in a cage and do what I love and show off my skill set. I think that's the most rewarding thing out of everything. Of course, my professional debut, it was a good success and stuff like that. But now I am doing the exact same thing now for my second professional fight, enjoying absolutely everything, enjoying all the processes from the training to getting the weight down to hopefully now fighting and getting a finish now in 2 weeks' time.
100%. And you had the spotlight on you, obviously, throughout your amateur career as well. So I would imagine it wasn't too big of an adjustment. Like, you would have headline shows in the past. Obviously, you're dealing with longer rounds, you're dealing with, more tools that you can use and professional. But did it kind of feel the same for you? Did the experience that you did have coming up through the amateur ranks and being on those big Cage Legacy shows kind of help you prepare for that moment as well?
100%. Throughout my amateur career, I always made it. I tried to show up, but more for myself. I always try to challenge myself and try to take fights people wouldn't usually take. Because I know all them fights that I was in throughout amateur, they all stand for the start of that pro career. In regards to nerves, Ian, I start now. I remember my first few amateur fights. I'd feel I'd have to get myself into this ultra aggressive kind of state, if that makes sense. If you have to look at my first few amateur fights, I am like super aggressive, coming out from the first minute to the last minute, trying to take their heads off. Now it's almost more of a I don't need to get myself into that state. I get myself into an extremely happy state. I'm really content and I'm really happy to be able to go out and fight. And I feel like throughout that kind of emotional transition, I feel like that it really improved me as a fighter. I really started to showcase my full set of skills instead of the one or two I was showing in my early amateur career. So I think that was super important. The amount of fights I had a good few fights when I was kind of in my teens, and then once I kind of got to 18, I decided, to get on the amateur scene, start test myself and try prove to myself that I am one of the best in the country at amateur. So that's all done and stuff like that now. So I'm looking forward to now making my own first set of tracks into the professional scene now.
Yeah, 100%. It's interesting that you say that shift in mentality. And look, nerves are normal, and the emotions that you have before a fight are normal as well. I talking to a few fighters, and I was lucky enough to experience it way back in the day myself. It's about how you challenge those, like you channel those emotions and kind of use them. So you did have that level of aggression. I think I would have had it at one time, but it's more excitement now at
Yeah,
what's coming and the preparation. You have to.
It's exactly. It's like, because I feel like, in, you know, and I also see it a lot, you know, when I'm watching the other amateur shows. It's very funny. I've learned more about myself in, I think I've had, maybe I've stepped into a cage maybe 15 or 16 times, including all my teenage fights. I've learned more about myself stepping into the cage that amount of times than I ever would. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If I
yeah,
didn't, how emotionally aware you have to be, you know, how much your emotions can dictate your decision making in a fight. It's crazy, you know. That's why I think, like, you know, fighting an amateur is essential, you know. Like, you want to get them in, because, you know, in professional, of course, the records and everything else matters, you know. But I find that error for margin in professional, like, I can go in over aggressive, or I can go in over commit on something, and someone might slip on the outside and right hand, boom, you're gone. You know, it doesn't take too much to put someone out in them 4-ounce gloves. So that's what I really kind of took away, was the, you know, the emotional awareness of your, like, I felt like that I was going in with, like, the intention of absolutely trying to destroy someone, you know, like,
yeah,
aggressive. And now it's a thing of, I have I have fought a certain amount of times now, where it's, I know what I can do to someone in 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't need to, let's say, go out super ultra aggressive and, like, you know, almost prove to myself that I can do it, because I know I can do it now. So now it's a thing of, the emotions and stuff have been identified, and I find that when I'm in that happy and excited state, and the shots are going, and the takedowns and the wrestling, and, you know, everything is chaining together, that's when I'm in my perfect state, you know. So
Yeah.
that's what I kind of, it was obviously the experience in fighting, you know. I was in certain situations and stuff, and adjustments and things were made, you know, throughout my amateur career, and the positions and the a bit of adversity I might have been put in. But the biggest difference was, you know, the emotional awareness, Ian, you know.
Yeah, 100%. And it's very, very important to have. And it's good that, you know, you're kind of coming to grasp with that as well. Because, you know, a lot of fighters, you know, they're still figuring that out throughout their professional career. And I think it's a thing that you're going to continue to stay figuring out as well, with different
100%.
experiences. Yeah. With the Fenard fight, you know, you probably visualized a lot of things. You probably had a game plan going in there. It was over in round one, knockout win. Is that how you seen it going? Were you happy with overall what the product
Um,
that was?
yes, I was and I wasn't. If that makes sense. I like to break it down like this. I find in this sport you get technicians and you get awkward guys. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And both have a similar chance to finishing you. You know.
Yeah.
So I knew that I knew going in, you know, that I would have had to make a few reads, make a few kind of mental notes. You know, I was landing a few shots of my own, throwing a few feints, and just seeing what he was biting on. I noticed that his right hand was, you know, dropping when he switched back into the orthodox stance. So what my initial plan was to jump in with a left hook, and once I made that read, you know, I feinted on the right hand, feinted on the right, loaded with the left, landed, you know, and it caught him. It caught him flush. Um, I probably, Roddy and Collie, you know, they really instilled it into me that you don't need to put 100% onto your shots. You put 50 to 60% on that chin, they'll go. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
about speed and accuracy more so than strength and power. So that was something that I really worked on in that last camp, was you know, variety of shots, and you know, going through my arsenal, going through me shot selection, and making those reads. And once the read was made, you know, I threw the shot it landed, and I managed to get to, finish it off with the TKO on the floor, So I was super happy with the performance. It was a great night. Honestly, the win was nice, but to see everyone there supporting me was even better. Ian, it was even better. I can't put it into words how grateful I am for everyone that get behind me. It really, I can't put it into words, but it gives me that extra bit. All them early mornings, all them late nights in the gym. It's like you're not going to want to do it all the time, and all those supporters come into my head, and they give me that extra bit of push. Because I want to ensure that they're going to get a flawless performance on my part 100% of the time, So they're amazing.
Yeah, well, moments like that, Max, are manufactured by you and your hard work, and and there's going to be plenty more of them as well. Obviously, we'll talk about what's coming in a couple of weeks, but first, I want to talk about your trip to Thailand. I was lucky enough to get over there to Thailand in 2021 before the pandemic. Loved it over there. It's an unbelievable spot. You were over there and you spent some time in Bangtao with the Hickman brothers. Your plans were to go over there. I think I remember you saying that the last time that we spoke. Your plans were just to head over there after that fight. Anyways,
yep.
You wanted to get a bit of work, and it's a hot spot for a lot of fighters right now, and a lot of Irish fighters are going over there.
It is indeed
all over the world. What was it like over there for you in your experience?
It was honest, Ian. It was great. I really, I would call it. There's no place like home, but it was almost like a home away from home. The environment in the gym is amazing. The variety of training partners, that were coming through for me. While I was in fight camp, it was great. I got to lots of other Irish fighters. John Mitchell, James Gallagher, Aaron Henry. I shouldn't have said all these names. Gonna forget everyone I believe trained.
That's the trouble.
I'm brutal. But there's a great Irish force out there. They're after getting a new boxing coach in, Connor. He was doing lots of work with me while I was over there. But honestly, it's a home away from home. I really felt like that. I was upgrading the software over there. As I'm a young enough pro, young enough in the game. Outside of camp, I feel like little trips like these are essential. Just for not training to fight. I think training to fight and training to get better are two completely different things. Like when I start getting the weight down and stuff like that, my training intentions are different. But when I'm outside of camp and the thoughts are flowing and different ideas are flowing, this is when I get better, and then throughout fight camp, them new things, them new techniques, new little kind of ideas, they all get drilled in, things get discarded, things get selected, and whatever's added to the arsenal is added to the arsenal. That's how in my opinion, that's how a fighter gets better. I think that they're so important. So I spent the first 2.5 months over there, upgrading the software, getting loads of sparring rounds in, trying new things, and as soon as I think it got to the start of January, that's when I started to really get the weight down and really put the head down, getting 2-3 sessions in a day, and I feel the better man for it. After I got home last Friday, and since I've gotten home, it felt great. I really feel like I'm really after taking a few levels above from when I went over. So honestly, it was a great experience. I got to meet Jon Jones and meet GSP for the second time.
Nice.
George and Frank Hickman, Alex Shield, Woody, all the guys over there. They have a great thing going, So it's great for me to be able to get over there and experience it,
100%. A couple of different avenues that I was planning on going down anyway. Jones and GSP is one of them. Before I get to that, I want to talk about your approach to training. So you go in there, you get the knockout in round 1. You make the decision to travel over to Thailand, get the work in. When you're going over there, what's your mentality? Do you reassess the last performance? Do you try to focus on particular areas that you need to work on? Or are you just basically going over there and just getting your skills way more well-rounded in all avenues? Or what is your approach to training, and what do you take away from training sessions and obviously some of your fights as well?
So obviously every fighter wants to get, hard, tough kind of training in. When I went over there, and any time I go to train anywhere, I go in like a sponge. I'm just trying to absorb any bit of information that I think could benefit me whatsoever. And that's the approach. Like, I am open to absolutely getting to learn anything, whether it's some sort of different technique, a different variation of a shot. Like, there's so many different kind of examples. But that's the thing. I'm open to learning. Even though I'm doing the sport a long time, I'll always be a beginner, and I'll always be eager to kind of adopt new things and try new things out. I think that is what I've done for many years, and it's what I'll continue to do. Everyone can show someone something, no matter who they are, no matter who they are. And I had like, I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. I had blue belts, purple belts. I had wrestlers. I had so many people show me so many different things, and it's like, this is a sport where, if you have variety, you're a difficult individual to deal with, and that's what I'm trying to add to my own game, is that variety, the confidence to be able to take a fight anywhere and be able to come out on top.
It's a key thing. It's a key 100%. Thing to be able to do, isn't it? Like, being able to dictate where the fight goes and having the confidence, whether it's on the mat, whether you can keep it on the feet if you want to, whether you want to take it down. It's very, very important thing. We mentioned the Hickman brothers and everything like that, and the setup that they have over there in Bangtao, which has drawn talent from all over the world. In your opinion, what do you think that the kind of scene that the Hickman brothers have set, and the kind of environment that they've set at Bangtao, why do you feel that that's kind of drawing the attention of all of this, and what do you get out of it in particular?
Well, I'll always back this. I've trained in many gyms over the world. I've trained in many high-level gyms, and one thing that always sucks me into the gym is the environment. I think a gym, I think it makes or breaks a gym, the environment within. I am an individual where, if the environment isn't good, I don't thrive. I don't I want to say I don't get the most out of it, I went to Bangtao not last year. I would have went in December of 2022. I went out there for 7 weeks, and it was the environment that sucked me in straight away. And almost the guys are that friendly that it's like, it was like a willingness that I want to go train with these guys. It's not a thing of I want to go there because the rounds are hard. It's just everyone, all the staff, everyone's just so friendly. Everyone's just so welcoming. So that's what is attracting everyone, in my opinion. Of course, the skill set, the coaches and George and Frank are world-class coaches, but the environment is that welcoming. I just found it sucked me in straight away. I remember the day I got like Frank, I was having great laughs with Frank. George, super sound as well, so it's just a thing where it's like, once you're in that positive environment around like-minded individuals, how can you not thrive in, and it's that's why I decided to go over for a bit longer of a stint, to see how good I could get, in an environment like that, in a different environment. Of course, my gyms back home are everyone's enthusiastic, everyone's willing to get the work in and to improve and stuff like that. But I decided to try it in a little bit of an unfamiliar area, a different country, with different individuals, to see if it'd be any different. And it was an experience, it was a great experience. I wouldn't change it for anything in the world, so I just think what they have going on there over in Bangtao in Phuket, it's great. The gym's only open 2 years, and I think every day there's 80 to 100 people on the mats, for MMA sparring. So I was getting plenty of variety in, plenty of different training partners in, different styles, so honestly, it was great. I really, really enjoyed it. And I think I think George and Frank, the environment, you know, that they've set in the gym is, I think that's what's reeling everyone in, you know. Everyone wants to be a part of something positive and special, you know. So
100%. I get exactly what you're saying, and it's very, very important. And it's something I always admired about you, is your willingness to spread yourself out at all of these gyms from a very young age. Like, with martial arts, when you're training as a fighter, you do have that certain level of loyalty towards maybe one gym. And, we got to see an example of that with Connor with SBG and everything like that. But we always were talking about and wondering if Connor had spread himself out a little bit more, or other fighters do. But it seems to be a common trend with everybody. And to have the freedom to do that, and have obviously the support of all your coaches back home with Roddy and Colin and Sergey as well, must be huge to be able to go over there and experience all that as well. You mentioned Jones, you mentioned GSP over there. It was second time obviously meeting GSP. What's it like being in the presence of such greatness?
It's honestly, it's phenomenal to be in that presence of greatness. But in my opinion, what beats greatness is how you carry yourself as an individual. You know what I mean? That's greatness in my opinion. You know what I mean? And how Jones and GSP both held themselves as, as people. They are two of the most friendliest people I've ever met in my life. There was probably, for the GSP and Jon seminar, I say there was probably close to 1,000 people, coming in and out of the gym to see them. And I think they must have got a photo with absolutely every single person that came to see them. You know what I mean? Like with GSP, he was super friendly. He's super nice, well spoken. And then Johnny Bones, then he recognised the Irish accent straight away. He was talking away to me and my girlfriend Isabel. Super, super nice people, So it's honestly, it's great to be able to meet two legends of the sport like that,
Yeah,
something that I won't forget, definitely, especially being able to meet GSP twice, once being able to get around him with me and Henzo Gracie in New York City, and then for whatever way the universe works, we cross paths again.
Yeah.
So honestly, it was a great experience, Ian.
There's a great video that I seen. I'm not sure. I know he was working a little bit with Chero over there, but there was one video that I seen with Jones where he had double wrist control over this guy.
Yeah.
And he just went through about 10 to 12 different kind of techniques of what you can do in that scenario alone. And I think that snip, I don't know whether you were obviously there, so you've seen it in person.
I was watching it, yeah.
That to me just gives a snippet of the fight IQ and the understanding of mixed martial arts that what Jon Jones has. Like, I mean, before I got into media, and we have to be fairly even keeled in media, but I was a huge Jon Jones fan, followed him the whole way up along, and I just think he's a special fighter. I would consider him the best mixed martial artist fighter of all time. And I think to see those little intricacies with, elbows, knees, spinning back elbows, everything off double wrist control must have been unreal to look at. And I'm sure that when you're in seminars like that, you're picking up little small details and takeaways from what he's delivering in it. Would I be correct in saying that?
No, 100%. Like, and that's like a skill in itself, if that makes sense. It's to be able to have like insanely high fight IQ, like Jon Jones does. It's I like money can't buy that. You know what I mean? That is from fighting the best in the world for years and years and years on end. That's how you get a fight IQ like that, But it's almost like when even when you like train with guys like that, like I always like the guys who maybe have 10, 12 plus pro fights. Like, I love getting training in with them guys because it's almost like they have a solution for every problem in every scenario. And why do they have the solution in every scenario? Because they've been there before. They've been there in a fight. They've felt it. They know what it feels like, So that's that's the best thing, in my opinion, like to be able to see, and then to be able to give like someone like myself like a little insight of it, in he was calling it sticky hands, with the elbows and the knees, getting the double wrist control over an opponent. He was big on going through your shot selection, getting them biting on certain feints, and then once you obtain the double wrist control, that's when you start, landing them big shots. And he's done it to plenty of people in the UFC, So you've seen these techniques work firsthand, As soon as I seen him grab the two wrists, I was like, I already know what he's gonna do. So I've watched him do it countless of times. But even for him to show everyone on the mat it was great, Ian, it was great.
Perfect. Yeah, no, it's great to be in those kind of scenarios, and you feed off that kind of stuff as well. Did he offer any? Look, at obviously there's probably with GSP and with Jones, there's fighters in many various situations in their career, starting early, maybe a little bit later in their career. There is fight techniques that you can share, but there's also the knowledge of Jon Jones and GSP were a fighter like yourself before, Max. Up and coming. Starting off professional. Did they share any help and advice in terms of ways to build yourself as a fighter as you're coming up into the professional ranks and getting more experience, and obviously jump into the bigger shows as well?
So I never asked them any specific questions when I was in Thailand, but funny enough you asked me that. I remember when I was in Henzo's, I was just doing jiu-jitsu, and I asked GSP a question, and it was along the likes of how do you get how do you reach that tip top level, and like as a 16-year-old, you don't see it. As a few years go on, I kind of see it now. And what he said to me was, he said, stick to the path no matter how hard it gets, and you follow that path. And like when he said that to me, it was kind of like, okay, yeah, just keep doing jiu-jitsu. But like as you kind of like see it over time, just being plenty of opportunities where I could have just, I don't know, like, true, this is too hard, this isn't for me, And I think maybe every kind of fighter, I don't know, gets to a stage of like frustration in training and things aren't working. And like when he said that, I just always made sure to myself that I would train consistently, for as long as my body can withstand it. And that's what I've done, 5 years onwards,
It's crazy. And you're talking about coming over adversity too. And I know we spoke about it the last time. It was you're coming back into your last fight after that big shoulder injury as well. So I mean, that I think that might have been the moment where those words that GSP gave you resonated with you the most, no matter how difficult it gets. Because I know you're a guy that loves the sport, you engross yourself in training, but it's when you're sitting on the sidelines watching and you can't do anything. Those are probably the toughest moments.
And those are the battles, like it's not, honestly, and it's the same with a lot of fighters. It's not what you do in the gym, it's what you do outside of the gym. Those are the little 1% gains, you know what I mean? Little 1% gains, diet, sleep, making sure you're getting the correct supplements in. Those are the little 1%, you know what I mean? Getting to the gym and training, that's the reward for me, you know what I mean? That's me when I'm content, and that's what I do to enjoy myself. But to ensure myself that I can continue to do this, at a not at like a half farce, but like at a decent momentum, at like a, to be able to keep training at a similar intensity every time. Not maybe on a Monday I go hard, on a Tuesday it's half farce, Wednesday I'm too tired. You know what I mean? Like them little 1% outside of the gym. That's what makes or breaks a fighter, in my opinion. That's the difference between stardom and being average. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's in my opinion. So when, like, even them little words, stay on the path, it's like now it's almost like any little thing that I'm doing, the first thing that I'm thinking about is this going to affect me in training? Is it going to affect my sleep? Is it going to affect my recovery? That's all that I'm thinking about, There's a huge difference between a fighter and an athlete, And once I get to that top level, that will stand to me, because I'm an athlete through and through. I live and breathe the sport, inside it and outside it,
100%. Yeah, very good mindset to have going in, and all that thought, all the preparation, everything that you've been putting in over the last couple of months. Max is coming out March 24th. Abdellah Adjas you must be chomping at the bit to get in there and showcase the work that you've been putting in over the last couple of months. What do you think of Abdellah as an opponent? Are you a guy that will study your opponent awful hard, or just feed off your own skill set and see where the fight takes you?
I like to look at the guys that I'm fighting, but I can make I can make reads, and I can see things within the first, let's say, 30 seconds of like a first exchange or whatever like that, you know. I was originally meant to fight David Casale. The reasoning behind that fight was he was a bit of a step up to my last opponent, but also he has the experience. He has 10 pro fights, you know. So yeah, that's what I was getting out of that fight, you know. A 10 fight, he's 10 pro fights. He's been in there 10 times. I have been in there as a professional once. You know what I mean? So I wanted to put his experience up against my skill set. And now I feel like with my new opponent, I'm going to say he's more of a threat, you know. He has knockout power. He has heavy hands. And these are things that I have to respect. And if I don't respect them, I'll get caught, you know. And that's the nature of the sport. And if he doesn't respect my skill sets in certain areas, he will get caught, you know. So, I like the fight, you know. He's a long southpaw, but I'm just looking forward to it. I feel like I've gotten that much variety in my training over in Thailand that I feel like I am prepared for anyone that they could have put in on 2 weeks' notice. You know, I don't care. I just want to get in and fight. I haven't fought since September. I've spent a long time away trying to perfect as much as I can for this fight. And now I'm looking forward to showing it off in 2 weeks' time, you know. So yeah, chomping at the bit.
100%. And I'm looking forward to seeing it as well, Max. When it all kicks off, when you're called to action, how do you see the fight going? What's your prediction?
I don't like to give predictions for fights. I don't, because in that 15 minutes in the cage, it is unpredictable. But what I will do is I will do my best to make the necessary reads and take the fight to where I think I'll finish it, whether that is on the feet or that is on the ground, because I have full confidence in that I can finish him on the feet or on the ground, you know. So I don't see it going the full 15 minutes. But in regards to a knockout or a submission, I'll take whatever comes, you know.
100%. And obviously, you probably are looking for activity throughout the rest of 2024. Are you in a situation now? Look at Cage Legacy has been a good partner to you through your amateur career, obviously setting you up here for your start of your professional career as well. Are you looking to kind of get some more fights for under Cage Legacy and keep that run going throughout the rest of 2024? How does it look for you?
So I'm looking to have another 3 fights this year, and they'll all be regionally on Cage Legacy. I'm gonna see every fight. I want to step up, if that makes sense. What I'm gonna do the start of next year is I'm gonna do the same as I've done before. I will go away to Thailand and I will continue to, you know, perfect my craft. And I'm looking for 3 fights this year to finish the year as a 4-0 as a pro. And then the following year, I'm going to try to get in some international bouts, you know, hopefully on UFC Fight Pass cards. I want to get that little bit of cage experience as a pro, you know, to elbow more, knee more. My last fight was 90 seconds long, you know. I need to be in the cage longer than that, you know.
Yeah, it was actually something I want to ask you, and it was like, we talk about quite some time that cage experience. Although, look, it's a great rush, I'm sure, going in there, getting a first round knockout, getting the hands raised. But you know, like you said earlier on in the interview, and how Jon Jones got so good, is that in cage experience and going against those kind of challenges. So is that something that you think about going into a fight? It was like, you know, you might be presented with some opportunities to finish, but you can make a decision on whether to go finish it or whether you want to get that cage time. Is it something that you think about? Or is that kind of a bad mentality to think about and get too caught up with that kind of stuff when you're actually in there fighting?
So the way I look at it is, it's, in my opinion, it's a bit of both, you know. Once I get into that state on fight night, I am going to take a finish if it presents itself. And I'm not that not that I will look for it, but it's almost like once I make a read, or I make you know, I notice something, or I see something, you know, like what I learned doing this sport is them 2 eyes are the most important thing, you know. You see things, you see reactions, and that's when. But once I see them, I can't help myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm gonna jump on it. I'm gonna jump on it. And why am I gonna jump on it? Because when I get in there, I'm happy and I'm content, but I'm also ruthless. You know what I mean? So, but then on the flip side, you know, I've seen so many fighters, you know, lots and lots of fighters who go out to fight, and they will fight someone who is not technically as good as them, is not as skillful as them, but experience in the cage sometimes wins fights. Does that make sense? And
it
it
does,
does.
100%.
I've seen it over the years. I've seen it, and it has won me a few fights at amateur also. That experience, knowing what to do. Sometimes you're in a tough fight, knowing what the refs are looking for, you know, when it's down to that tight decision and stuff like that, you know. So experience wins fights, you know. So I'm looking to have 3 fights this year, and hopefully the end of the year have maybe a big enough name for me to compete against, you know. So I can test that, you know. Once I get to that 4 or 5 pro fights, that's when I'll be looking to go international, get onto UFC fight pass cards, and hopefully get into the UFC by whatever means necessary, you know.
Big time. Sounds like a good plan, and it all begins on March 24th. Well, it's already began already, let's be real, but it will continue on March 24th.
Continue, yes.
Yeah, for sure. Abdellah, Adjas, Max, Lally, co-main event, Cage Legacy 21. Max, tickets, pay-per-view codes. Is there anybody or anything that anyone that's listening here can do to help you out here? Is there a pay-per-view code that they can attach to that might give you a few quid or tickets, or what way does it work out? How can we help you out?
So of course, the link in my bio, I didn't want to take Ryan Curtis's link out of my bio, obviously with the horrific accident that he had back in January. So what I did was I just put the link for my my pay-per-view in my story highlight. It's the first story highlight on my Instagram profile. So that's what you can do if you want to look at the pay-per-view. I think I might have about 6 or 7 tickets left in for this fight, so I don't think it's much use. I don't think
You're
it's
probably gone
use,
by the time this comes out as well,
you know. But
yeah.
If anyone's looking for them 6-7 tickets, you know, send me a message. I'm more than welcome to accommodate you, you know.
100%, Max. Thanks so much for the time. I always love having a chat with you. We'll do it again down the line, I'm sure. Always appreciate the time. Best of luck to you. I'm really looking forward to seeing getting in there, showcasing the level of work that you've been doing in the gym over the last couple of months. March 24th, Cage Legacy 21, Max Lally versus Abdellah Adjas. Check it out on pay-per-view. Head over to Max's. We'll be sharing links and codes and everything like that as well. You can watch it on pay-per-view if there's no tickets left. From the pillow in your bedroom to the Pillo Hotel.
That's it.
24th. That's it, Max. Take care.
5 minutes on a push bike in.
I love it. Take care, Max. Thanks for the time. And we'll talk to you soon.
Take care.